Hello, welcome to Soulprint. Thank you so very, very much for being here. I'm hoping this is going to be kind of a short mini. I want to take a look at the Harris campaign and see how they're doing. And there's a message that I've been sort of asked to send to you along with this. So let's not fool around here and let's just get right to business. For any of my new subscribers, thank you so much for being here. For my established ones, of course, you know I just adore you. For the comments, a thumbs up, all of it is brilliant, and I'm very, very grateful. If you have not yet gone backwards in time and checked out the newest update from Georgia with Marcus, which was not released when it should have been. I mean, it got released a couple hours later, but please check it out because there's some really interesting stuff going on there. Also, just very quickly, if you notice Marcus's comments in the comment section, he's talking about the fact that a lot of the ground games are just disillusioned, the Republicans, because they have no support. They're not getting a good response. Whereas the Democrats have a very strong, powerful, forceful, full-bodied ground game. So that can explain in part why we're just not seeing the Trump signs, et cetera, because they don't have the people and they don't have the enthusiasm. All right, let's hop on to something that's going to be of a much lighter and lovelier energy. All right, so Spirit, can you just give me a heads up, please, on how the Harris campaign is doing? We're like, 25, 26 days away from the election? This is kind of go time, right? So let's just see what we're doing. Okay, so the first thing that they want to talk about is the fact that internal polling, the polling we don't get to see, is very, very positive for her and her campaign. So they're getting good news that we don't even get to hear. So that's important, and that's like lovely. Their sort of media campaign, the media people are flawless. They have been doing a broad swath of different interviews in different platforms. And what it's doing is it's reaching out to people who otherwise may not have had an opportunity to sort of listen to her for 5+ minutes, or who, aren't completely focused on some of the issues. And so this is brilliant. I mean, she did the conservative ABC, and then she did like Howard Stern. Like, how do those two fit in the same category, right? But because she's doing that, she's hitting all of these different, segments of the population. Internally, they're saying that the campaign people are very up. They're very focused. They're having a ton of fun. Like when I go into that energy, I hear sort of laughing and joking and hugging and smiling, and it's a very, very up energy. And so, of course, we know that it amplifies, right? It multiplies. And so that is creating more of that amazing, positive, powerful energy. So the campaign itself is doing really, really well. Kamala is, as I'm stepping into her energy, she is excited, she is enthusiastic, and she is tired. Okay. She has been, like she said, I'll sleep when I'm dead, but she has literally been burning that candle at both ends. There's going to be sort of a busy time between the winning the election and the inauguration. In many, many ways, has a much smoother transition than anybody could think of, simply because even though she may be switching up some people or switching up positions, she knows what's been going on. So it's not like there's going to be this real complex, okay, we have to bring you up to speed, you have to know what's happening. She already knows that. So I'm hoping that she is able to get a little bit of R&R, between those two events. If you're wanting to do something to support her and you've done all the other things like vote and, get registered and, send in your donation and do whatever volunteer work you're doing, just sit quietly and just see her surrounded in brilliant, brilliant white light. Just hold that picture for like 30 seconds and then know that that energy and that light is being sent to her. Okay. So this is what's happening. The stronger and the more momentum her campaign builds, the more defeated is the Trump campaign. The more defeated they are, the more they search for distraction, the more they search for red meat to pump up their base. And I can tell you energetically, I'm looking, people are not excited to vote for him. I mean, that mega core, but already. But everybody else is not. And so more and more you have people kind of going, that Kamala thing, that might be interesting to check out. And so the more desperate they become, the more they look to deflect, right? Let's not look at how the Trump campaign is doing. Attention to all the absolute mind-boggling, stupid, and insane things coming out of Trump's mouth and out of the campaign. And this is where you get the disinformation about hurricanes and FEMA, the dog and cat story. This is where you get that kind of nonsense because the campaign doesn't have anything positive and powerful and enlightening and encouraging to say. So what they're going to say is stuff that will distract you from the fact that that's what's happening. And so I have been asked to pass this sort of message along to you. In the next 20 whatever days, the Trump campaign is going to continue to ramp up the insanity. Now, listen, you have been warned about this several times in some of my recent videos. If we think what's going on today is insane, don't wait till next Tuesday and see what's happening. Wait till the following Thursday and see what's happening. Because it is just going to continue to build and build. And because you've got this hurricane energy going on in the southern part of the United States, it's already chaotic in there. It's already, people are scrambling. They don't know what they're doing. They're getting all this information that's contradicting, what they're being told on one hand versus what they're hearing from, Trump. And so they're going to continue to ramp this up. And by and large, the Harris campaign, they're pretty clever. They push back when they need to push back. And otherwise, they just sort of laugh at them. Which, Frank, I'm sorry, that's a brilliant strategy because we all know the one thing he cannot tolerate is being laughed at. But that's sort of the way they're handling it. It's like if you say something incredibly stupid, they just laugh at him and go, can you believe that? And so it's important that as the next days roll forward, that you keep your focus away from the insanity and the chaos and direct your attention to that which is positive and powerful and enlightening and joyful. So, if you start hearing all of this stuff and it's starting to work on you, can you feel yourself starting to get anxious? Put on a funny show. Put on a movie. Take the dog for a walk. Take yourself for a walk. Get together with somebody for coffee and not talk politics. Bake cookies. Do what you can do to dissipate that anxiety in you, because as I said before, that chaotic anxiety energy, it is the same energy. And you know what? That chaotic and distracted energy is exactly what the Trump campaign is pumping out. So when you find yourself kind of like that, understand what you're doing is you're energizing exactly what you don't want to be energizing. And that's how come you need to be really mindful of the things you're hearing or the things you're reading. And if they don't make sense, or, you listen to it and you go, what the hell? It's not accurate. Don't focus on it. Don't interact with it. Let it go and refocus into that which is, white and light and joyful and powerful. Because from now until the votes are counted, that's going to be the most powerful energy that the average person has, is forwarding this really strong positive energy towards that Harris campaign. This is part of what's going on. And it goes back to sort of everybody thought Hillary was going to win against Trump and it was going to be a no-brainer, and then she didn't, and then everybody went into shock. And by the way, you be quiet. Did you go into shock? Huh? Apparently Atlas has something to say about it. No. Shh. You need to be quiet. Go find out what you're barking at. A lot of us are literally still suffering from, post-traumatic stress disorder simply over that win. Never mind all the insane and crazy things that have happened in the last, 8 years. So understand that those reactions that you're having need to be twisted, turned around, turned in another direction, 180, okay? Because they're not serving you. They're just not. More importantly, they're not serving the greater good. So, Tim Walz is, his energy is actually really cool. He really is sort of like everybody's favorite dad or favorite uncle. And I got to tell you, he's tired, but he is having an absolute blast. He gets so energized from the energy of the crowd, and then it becomes reciprocated, right? He's up there bouncing around and being really happy, and he's pushing out that energy into the audience, and the audience is sending it right back to him. And so there's this really kind of lovely back and forth thing that's going on energy wise around him. And so he is just continually sort of pumped up. But make no mistake, he is a very clever politician. I mean, sometimes, you get that kind of down home, kind of flannel shirt, and you're thinking, does he have the chops? Trust me, he has chops. He is an incredibly wise and canny politician. The one that stands out in my mind is he was interviewed, this was a while back, and the interviewer was sort of talking to him about policies that, were a little outrageous and a little outlandish and frankly, kind of expensive. And was that exactly what he wanted to be doing in his state? And he said, yeah, you know what? I absolutely think it is worth feeding kids breakfast and lunch. Yep, I do. I actually think that's a smart use of resources. And so would I rather feed them and let them starve? Yeah, no. And he totally spun that interview around, and the guy had nothing left to say. I mean, what do you say? If you're going to disagree with him, you are literally saying that you would prefer that children not eat. So I understand the two of them, they know what they're about. And they are working very hard with their campaigns, with their spouses, with their surrogates. to really, really pump up the energy. So that's what you're going to see over the next few weeks. You're going to see the Harris Walz campaign becoming more and more like the beat of their energy is just going to get stronger and stronger and more powerful. Like they're literally they're playing like bass notes, like a bass guitar note in my head, and it's getting louder and louder and stronger and stronger. But we know what that's going to do. It's going to send the Trump Vance campaign on a course of destruction and chaos because they think that that is what's going to win them the election. And the unfortunate thing is, for that real base of theirs, it's going to work. But for everybody else, all those other Republicans, all of those, independents, they're sick of it. They're so flat tired that they just don't want to hear it anymore. I mean, if you and I think we are sick and tired of hearing Trump's voice, that's where they're getting. And they're the ones who have been listening to it for the last however many years and thinking, oh, okay, well, I guess I can kind of go along with that. They're getting tired of it. And so they're looking to divert their attention and see where they can reasonably, put their vote. And again, I go back to what was said at the beginning. The more diverse sort of interviews and media she does, the more she is reaching out to more people who may not necessarily, be getting their news from, mainstream media. So it's again, it's really smart. It's very, very it's strategic and clever. So I guess the message behind this mini is simply stay focused. Keep your eyes on the light and the bright and the promise and the optimism and the joy. And when you hear this other disinformation, misinformation, and flat out trash, block it off. Don't listen to it. Don't keep absorbing it. And understand that the anxiety it is producing in you is its intended target and response. Okay? Because you always have to remember what they're trying to do. And I mean, this comes from the Russian playbook, for God's sakes, right? What they're trying to do is create chaos so that people don't know left from right, up from down. And then that is where, you get the average person who's screwed. I'm not going to vote. I can't even figure out what the hell's going on. You have his base who have been like energized because they're just red meat all the time. That's where you get these kind of wonky election results. So it's really, really super important. Everything that I have seen since before Joe Biden was elected, when I said, before this was announced, before he had made a decision, Joe Biden's going to pick Kamala. Kamala is going to be his vice president. And from there, she is going to merge into the role of first female president, let alone first Black female president. And that's exactly what is happening. And that trajectory has not changed in all those years that I've been paying attention and watching what's going on. So take that in. Let the fear and the anxiety and whatever post-traumatic stress from 2016, whatever it is, let it go and just focus on how incredibly exciting the energy is going to be a very few short weeks down the line. All right. Thank you for being here. Atlas apparently says thank you. Okay, they heard you, hun. Shh. Until next. Oh, don't forget to put your questions in the comment section for the amazing Joyce for Pendulum Friday tomorrow. I will see you then. And until then, take care and be well. Bye for now.